We are at an inflection point. We see that. We understand what is happening. We get the fact that the dating apps don't want us to meet that special person. We get the fact that the culture does not incentivize long-term partnerships. We understand that approaching meeting people in real life has become old-fashioned and thought of as weird and thought of as this thing that people shouldn't be doing. We get all of that. We understand it. We accept where we are with this stuff. And all of us know this, right? All of us understand this stuff. What we then choose to do about it is the important thing. Because there are people who take a very doomer view of all of this stuff. There are people who look at everything that's happening around them, and unfortunately, particularly younger people, if you're a bit older like me, then you don't have to do this. If you're younger, you don't have to do this, but there is a contingent of younger people who look at everything that's happening around them. They look at the dating marketplace. They look beyond that. They look at the opportunities to get on the housing ladder, right? They look at the opportunities to buy a home. They look at the job market, how the job market is being squeezed. They look at inflation, how everything's becoming so much more expensive, how your paycheck, if you're lucky enough to get one, is being squeezed on a monthly basis because the prices of everything are going up. They look at all of this and we say this is no good, this isn't working anymore. The contract, the social contract that we once had, that we believed that we had, that we naively maybe believed that was in place, is no longer in place. The contingent of guys who go down the doomer route look at this stuff and they say, you know what, I'm out. You know what, I'm not playing this game anymore. I'm going to go over there and I'm going to sit on the sidelines. And that's very sad, because actually it's not necessary. Because the rest of us, the guys who accept the fact that, yeah, this is all a bit screwed up, but also search for solutions, the rest of us are actually having a pretty good time, even in spite of the difficulties. Because what we've understood and what we can see is that there is no narrative anymore. All right, there is no grand overarching narrative that knits everything together anymore. It's gone. It's dead. All right? We live in a world where major geopolitical decisions and actions are released over social media in the form of memes. We live in meme world. We live in the world of Reels and YouTube Shorts and TikToks. This is literally what our existence on this planet has now come down to. During the, how can I put it? During the period when people were ill in around 2020, I sat down and I read the complete works of Shakespeare. There wasn't a lot else to do. I read the complete works of Shakespeare, or at least I read the Shakespeare plays that I hadn't already read, because I studied English at university and I studied it at school, and obviously you have to read a lot of Shakespeare, but I filled in the gaps. So I read a lot of the less well-known plays, and I read all the sonnets as well. So I read everything. And it's incredible, really, that society has degraded in a way from the point that somebody has written that body of work, that genius body of work. And now we live in the world of TikTok. Everything's been reduced down to these 30-second reels, these 1-minute reels, whatever they are, 1-minute videos. This is what's happened. This is society, okay? But at the same time, you can either look at the negatives of that, or you can look at the positives of that. And what we choose to do is we choose to look at the positives of it, because the narrative has fragmented, okay? Social media has fragmented it. AI will continue to do the same thing, okay? And you can either look at that as everything's crap, everything's destroyed, the old certainties are gone, oh boo-hoo, woe is me. Or you can look at it and say, great, this is fantastic. Because what this means, what these conditions that we see around us mean, is we get to create our own reality. Because why not? Because everybody else is. Governments are doing it. Governments are creating their own reality. Celebrities are creating their own reality. Social media stars are creating their own reality. We get to do the same thing. All you need to do is take yourself away for a couple of days, take yourself away for a weekend, buy a legal pad, right? Buy a notepad, yellow notepad, bring some pens, shut yourself away somewhere, and think about how you actually want your life to be. So think about, okay, so what kind of relationship life do I want? Do I want to date casually? Do I want to travel? Do I want to have girlfriends in all different areas in the world? Or do I want to meet that someone special and settle down and have a family and set up shop somewhere? It's up to you. Whatever you want to do, write it down. And then think about, okay, so how do I want to earn my money? What am I actually passionate about? What it actually really gets me going? If it was an ideal world and you could just do it tomorrow, how would you be earning your money? Okay? And where would you live? Would you stay living in the same city where you are? Or would you travel constantly? Okay? Or would you choose a couple of locations, maybe Latin America and then somewhere in Europe over the summer in Europe, and live like that, right? Write it down. Okay? What kind of physique would you like? What kind of body would you like? If you're a bit older, how would you like to look, right? Is your hair going grey? Are your teeth falling out? Are you going bald? All right? What would you like to change about the way you present? How do you dress? All of this stuff. Just spend a night, spend a couple of days writing all of this stuff down and figure out, okay, in an ideal world, if all barriers were taken away from me and there was nothing getting in the way, how would all of these things look? Okay? And so then you've got the data. You've got the data set, right? This is what I want. And then you figure out the steps to get there. And you know what? We have now, I mean, things were amazing 2 years ago in terms of the amount of information that we have at our fingertips. Now, things are even better. Why? Because we've got AI, okay? So the next phase, of course, is then to figure out, okay, what are the steps that I need to take in order to get to these things that I want? What are the steps that I need to take in order to get to the life that I want, in order to have the kind of relationship life that I would like, in order to live in the place where I want to live? What are the steps that I would logically need to take from now, ground zero, today, in order to get there in each of these different areas? Okay? Previously, you could have Googled it, and you would have been successful in Googling it. You could have used YouTube, right? TikTok maybe even. You would have found articles, videos, blogs, posts on Reddit, people talking about how they've done these things, and you would have got your information from there. Now, you can just go onto ChatGPT. Other chatbots are available. And you can just put it in there and ask ChatGPT or whatever, Grok or whatever you use. And it's going to tell you what to do. And it's going to tell you in about 1 second exactly the steps that you need to take in order to get to this thing. Now, proceed with caution, because as we know, chatbots have hallucinations and it might get something wrong or whatever, but you can work that out, right? You need to interrogate it a little bit and make sure that the information you're getting is right, and then you can check up on the information that you get by using Google, okay, or by looking at the sources that it's used in order to give you this information. But the point is, and this counts in fitness, this counts in business, To some extent it counts in dating, although I would argue that really you need mentorship in the dating and the social skills stuff because it's a human skill. But nevertheless, it's going to give you a roadmap that you can use in order to completely change your life. So you don't even have to do the research anymore. You do, but the research is a lot easier, okay? And then you get to create the life that you want. Because what is the one thing that you need in order to make all these huge changes? Well, the one thing that you need is time, okay? But the great thing is, to a large extent, you control your time. Now, okay, you've got a job, right? You've got a job and maybe you work really hard and maybe you're in the office for however many hours a day. Okay, fine, I get it. Or, you know, you're working some kind of construction work or you're a plumber or whatever, right? You've got the hours in the day that you have to spend doing work. But the rest of the time, it's up to you. Now you might say, okay, but I've got a girlfriend and she's taking up a lot of my time. Well, guess what? Get rid of the girlfriend, okay? Because that's a choice that you've made. You've made the choice to be in a relationship. And if that relationship is then not giving you the time that you need in order to forge the life that you want, then you're probably with the wrong person, okay? As I say, this is a decision that you've made. It's not some kind of ordained thing that's forcing you to be in that relationship. It's not even an ordained thing that's forcing you to stay in that job. You could just leave the job, but of course it wouldn't be sensible to do that, right? You need to have some kind of replacement income in place, so that, you know, but you've got time. If you can make the time, you can spend a couple of hours before work, you can spend several hours after work, you can spend all weekends, you know. Get rid of Netflix, get rid of YouTube, get rid of all of this nonsense, get rid of fucking X, get rid of Instagram, you know, just take them off your phone, or at least take them off your phone for several days a week and lean into the things that you want, because we get to control the outcome, right? We get to think, okay, so look, everything is crap, however, I've got the most sophisticated research tools at my fingertips that human beings have ever had in the history of the world. I've got time, I've got persistence, and I've got grit. You should read the book Grit by Angela Duckworth, by the way. That is Grit by Angela Duckworth. Great book. Persistence and the ability to be dogged and just to keep going with stuff is it's worth more than natural talent. All right? So read that book. You've got the capacity in you to do all of this shit. All right? It's just that you're stuck for whatever reason. Or you haven't thought about it, or you don't think it's possible. But actually, all of this stuff really is in your hands. Now, could you fail? Yeah, of course. All right, let's be realistic. Of course you could fail. But how do you really fail? I mean, there is the old dictum that you only really fail by giving up, and that is true to an extent. I mean, you could have an amazing dating life, but you might spend 5 years getting good at it. Okay, you might spend depending on the baseline that you're from. It doesn't have to take 5 years, obviously, but you know what I'm saying. If you're coming at this from a very low baseline and there's a lot of stuff that needs to get sorted out, it could take you 5 years, and you might spend 5 years kind of getting rejected and things are not really working, not really clicking into place. But if you keep at it, then in the end, you will gain a modicum of success, because the bar is incredibly low. All right, like we teach this stuff and we help guys with this stuff, and you know we work long term with clients and we enable transformations in people's lives, right? Incredibly powerful stuff. But in the end, the things that you need to do are not that difficult. What you probably need is a mentor to look at what you're doing, to tell you how to tweak it, and then keep you motivated, keep you accountable, and set you some tasks, okay? And sort of structure it for you. That's what you need. But even if you don't do that, right? You don't have to. You just have to stick at it for long enough, okay? And you will get the results, because nobody else is doing it. Because everybody else here is also stupefied by the apps, by social media, by Netflix, by being in a relationship that's codependent because they can't get out of it because whatever, right? Or they're drinking, maybe you're drinking a lot, doing drugs, all of this kind of nonsense. We understand, we see the game. We know that the apps don't really want us to find somebody. We know that all of these myriad of distractions are put into our wake so that we're moved off course and we don't get the things that we want, because we understand that society doesn't really want all of us to succeed, okay? Because if all of us succeed, who's going to be the people who are the cogs in the machine? So there's no incentive there for anybody to help you to succeed. And when I make videos and I say there's no one coming to rescue you, it's a phrase that gets tossed around a lot, but this is why. There's a very real disincentive for the elites within any society to enable loads of people to succeed. But the ironic thing is, though, all of the materials are out there. The books are out there, all right? The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene has been published. It's not banned. Apparently it's banned in jails in America, but apart from that, it's not banned. You can go to a bookshop and buy it, and you can start to utilize some of the knowledge in that book in your own life, okay? There are a million self-help books out there. So all this stuff's out there. It's just that that's fine as far as the powers that be are concerned, because they know damn well that most people aren't going to fucking action any of it, okay? They know that most people aren't going to action it because most people are lazy and stupefied and numbing themselves, and they just don't really want to change. They don't really want to take any action. But if you're the outlier who actually does take the action in all of these different areas in your life, there are huge opportunities, okay? And you could argue that the opportunities are actually heightened by the very conditions that make 2026 a difficult place to live. The conditions that everyone complains about online, dating is so hard. It's hard to make money. I don't have enough money to cover everything because of inflation. I can't buy a house. The very conditions that are making it difficult for most people actually mean that this is a very fruitful period for those few who seek to buck the system. And they seek to buck the system by utilizing their own natural resources, their own innate capabilities. For those people, the field is wide open, but it's not most people, okay? And that's your advantage as well. Most people aren't going to do this stuff, all right? Most people that watch this video are not going to take any action on it at all, and that's fine. Welcome anyway, brothers, but you get what I'm saying. So I think we all get it by now. I think we all understand that the game is not being played in our favor. The board is not set up in a way that benefits us. We get it. We understand. It's fine. Okay? But we also have the innate capability, we have the resources to do everything in our power to change our situation, and we will do that. Hope you enjoyed this one. Give me a like, give me a comment. I'll see you again very soon. Bye-bye.